That road that's going in across.
Good evening, welcome to the Town of Waterboro Planning Board meeting for August 3rd, 2011.
I'm confused.
We have a full board present this evening. We have no appointments. The first item on our agenda after the appointments is minutes of previous meetings. I have,
Recognize the fact that you have an illustrious selectman in the audience who's here. I think you already ought to recognize that fact.
all right,
Sorry.
thank you, Frank.
You're welcome.
I'm sure he wants to be noticed this evening. The first item is the minutes from June 1st meeting. They should be in your packet. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? I will accept a motion to accept.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that
What
passes.
is this, the same thing?
Without changes.
Report of officers.
That's what
We
I
do
printed
need
off.
to hold an election for officers. We can probably do that at the end of this meeting, this evening. It is not on the agenda. It was supposed to be placed on the agenda, but it looks like it's, so we'll do an election of officers this evening. Under old business, Tom has reworked the performance bond. It's a second draft. I'm going to presume we all received it electronically this past week.
We all discussed it a week ago.
This new one?
That one
That
just
was
came
draft.
Well,
this
those are the
week.
changes that we put in
Okay,
2 weeks ago. Yeah,
Hmm.
last Wednesday,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
these are the changes, so,
Right. Those we put in.
Okay.
Right.
right, so,
I think it might have been confused as far as which one was Waterboro Planning Board. I put it on E, that may not, he said to take out Town of Waterboro and put in Waterboro Planning Board. That was both in B and E, and I put it in E, but I'm not sure if that makes any difference.
I think it's good in B where it says Town of Waterboro because it's going to defer
Okay.
to the selectmen. And we're the ones that would be looking at improvements and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Was he saying leave it in the town of Waterboro?
Up in B.
It's the selectmen who would approve or disapprove of the bank or whatever, or the planning board.
I think it's would be the
Yeah,
selectmen
I would
because
think so too.
they're the one that's the town's liable. I mean, they're holding the,
so what's your pleasure, folks?
I make a motion that we forward this to the selectmen.
Okay, as
For-
presently written?
Yes. With the changes from last week.
Correct.
I'll second.
Let me just get my second on it. Okay.
Sure, second.
Okay, I've got the motion and a second. Now I'll open it to discussions. Go ahead.
Okay, on your cisterns, we have several in town, and is there any setup for future maintenance of these things?
We hit that,
That's what,
we spent many minutes on that, actually.
Most of last meeting.
Last meeting, and I think we appointed Andy as head of the new cistern committee,
Cistern
investigation
patrol.
committee. But that needs, we really need to have something done with that, and I think it was general consensus to leave it sit like it is in there now, but we really need to go after that one and take care of it, because we're gonna be hanging for those things.
Could we make note of that?
I don't know if we could go back to somebody that's already, because when there's subdivisions are completed, the cisterns are turned over to the town.
Yeah, I don't think you do anything in the past ones, but,
Right.
I mean, future, I think.
There was, that was some of the point, this.
I thought we were going to take it out of this, to tell you the truth.
Oh, I thought we were gonna leave it.
I thought we
eventually.
were not going to address it till we
Well, I
actually
think
pick
you
it up.
wanted to take it out of that, and I think the rest of us, I said,
I was out.
why don't we just leave it and let it flow?
That's what I thought. We were gonna leave it, at least there's a little bit in there.
But we really need to, it really needs to be a separate
You know, what-
workshop, ordinance, or whatever.
And what I see happening with this is that when the bond gets too high, the subdivision just isn't going to do it.
Right.
What is the town going to do? And that's ultimately what's going to happen with this.
And the cisterns really need to be part of like the homeowner agreement. That needs to be wording that's,
But even that, they'll stop paying their dues at some point.
That's right.
Yeah.
When they start having a float bond that costs $10,000 a year, they can say, we're not going to do it, what's the town going to do? And does the town have a liability if we don't enforce it? And that's why I said it needs some discussion. So it's in there, I'm gonna vote one way or the other, you know, if you wanna leave it in there, we'll leave it in there, but I think it
But
needs to be
when
addressed.
when it gets addressed, we really need to get the fire department involved in it. Heavily, because when you have one that's bad, and that affects
Exactly, yeah.
your fire protection, then at that point, you can say, hello, insurance company, it ain't working no more. You need some leverage in there, something.
Yep.
So that's something I really think a separate committee, a separate workshop in order just for that, which you're chairing.
You want to move the motion along and add an amendment to the motion to include that the board is concerned or has concerns about cistern?
I just gotta make sure I'm right on the
Just
procedure.
so we address it and it keeps
just gotta make
moving
sure-
along and we can come back to it.
Wait a minute, only because I've been in this situation before. We have a motion and a
We
second.
have a motion and a
gotta vote on
second.
that.
Well, we don't have to
There's still
vote on it. If you
discussion.
want to make an addendum to it, then we
We
have to
could
vote on the
amend it.
addendum and go back to the motion.
Okay, I'll make an amendment to my motion that we include the concern about the cisterns and that should be a separately addressed.
Long-term maintenance of the system.
Right.
Okay.
Frank has to amend his second.
Yeah, somebody has to second it.
No, it has to be Frank.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just-
You amended that? You
Sure.
second that? All right.
Okay, I have another question.
I have many questions.
Okay.
On F, just clarification. This is the time period for the performance bond or security will be for a period of 1 year,
That's confusing.
beginning on the date of the final approval by the board. Now, is 1 year after completion of the project or 1 year after the board has said, okay, you can go ahead?
It's 1 year.
Final approval.
Final approval.
Final approvals.
Approval of the
The clock.
subdivision plan.
And then it can be extended for 1 year at a time
Okay,
beyond that.
okay.
So the procedure on that would be, I think he said that it's going to be checked quarterly. So 3 months before the bonds run out, somebody
And
would
see, that's not in here. We talked about that, but it's not in
somebody
here.
would tell the planning board that this is going to run out, and then we have to
It's not in
get with, I mean, I think we've got some open ends here.
It
Yes,
says quarterly reports on the status of pending bonds should be sent to the town
The biggest
administrator.
open end, and I think that we started to get into this last meeting, is this section on record management and bond facilitation.
I think Tom,
I think when we pass it back to the selectmen, they need to address this record management and bond facilitation. If they want, if it's something they want to pass off the responsibility to someone else, I'm sure we could deal with that, but they need to address that.
Where is that located, Frank?
Last
Second
page,
page,
last
last
section.
section.
And it's the whole idea, David, of when we recommend one, the management of that and who holds the bond and who watches the bond and the whole thing, it got to be a talk with Tom of, it turned into a whole department. It almost seemed like to me by the time we were done. Personally, putting on my 1993 selectman hat, that's their job.
Selectmen?
Yeah. If they want to pass that off to the board of, the planning board, I suppose we can certainly sit down and talk about it, but Tom and I were in disagreement on that.
Okay.
He was, had everything, we're gonna take care of everything. I don't think that's what they intend.
And I'll tell you, when I was in Bedford, bonding is, and Andy, you know, bonding is a beast of its own.
Oh, yeah, it
If
is.
you don't stay on top of it and it goes bad after a year, you're stuck holding
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's not even worth the paper it's
There's no language in here
Yeah,
to lay out what's gonna happen.
it needs to be monitored and
That's what I have a problem with
upgraded.
this, there's so many loose ends in here.
So if
It
if
needs to be
somebody
tightened up.
gets notified 3 months before this is going to expire, what then?
They,
They negotiate, what if the person holding the bond says, I'm not going to renew it? And there we are.
But
Can
they
you
haven't-
collect the money right, I mean, it has to be before it's run out. If you let it run out,
that's not us, that's right.
That's not us.
That's
No.
gonna
I
be,
know, and that's one of the arguments that's gonna come up. I think Tom thinks it's one big happy planning department us. And I would love to hear what the selectmen
But
have.
shouldn't it be in the ordinance how that gets
Somebody,
laid out?
yes, I would think so.
How that
That's when
works?
this gets passed to them, that's why I say they need to make note of that one section, and I'm sure it'll bring a lot of discussion. Because
I think that,
it's either passing all the responsibility to them to maintain it and watch it and everything else, or it's coming back to us. And
Because I'm looking at protecting the town, but I'm also looking at making sure the applicant knows what he's in for when he does that.
Yeah.
When he puts that
Yeah.
bond.
I think
You know,
if it-
and not so much the bond, and they're coming up and they're putting a cash.
It's the little details. It's
Exactly.
all the
exactly.
details.
There's a lot of little details.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be careful on what, if it addresses for the applicant's clarification, then it needs to be in the bond.
Yes.
If it's what the town's gonna do with the administration of it, that's an SOP that the town has.
Exactly.
So I think that's what we just gotta be, we're gonna make sure we don't get it so, wordy in here that,
You don't want a lot of minutia in this ordinance, but
Yeah.
it needs to be addressed
But as a
at
contractor-
some level, whether it be the selectmen or not. I think once we establish the fact that we do want a bond, what the percentage of the bond is going to be, and the mechanism used to determine the bond, then the maintenance of it, the oversight of it, falls on the selectmen to delegate who they want to watch it. I mean, that's a financial responsibility for the town to be.
And the part that got my hackles up a little bit was when the discussion turned to, it was gonna fall on staff in town hall. And staff would do this, and staff would do that, and I'm going, not our bailiwick. That's you guys. I'm not gonna come out and tell you what the town treasurer or the town, somebody's gonna be doing, that's your end. I don't think we should be involved in that.
I don't think we can be involved with it. It's
We
not our
don't
job.
dictate the
We
day-to-day
can if
work.
they'll let us, but I can't believe that board will let us take that responsibility. I may be wrong, but.
Do you want it?
No.
Not particularly, no. Do you want to give it up? No?
To me, it's confusing. Maybe it's just me because I don't know anything about this, but in there it says the bond will be for the duration of the project, and then it says it will be for 1 year.
Well, bond, when you buy a bond, I believe it's
expires.
1 or 3 year, or
Do 1 or 3 years.
1 or 3 year bond, so if they buy the bond, you need to stay on top of that. If the project goes for 3 years and they have a bond for 3 years, you're closed. But if they buy a bond for a year and the project goes for 3 years, then you need to have them upgrade that bond every year.
But there's
Yeah.
things beyond a person's, the person that put that bond up for a year may go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And not be able to provide the second bond, and you got half the project built out, what happens then? So that's why we were talking, I think last time, it should be a longer bond to start off with, for more longer protection, or just the 1 year. And then you can take a 3-year bond and back off and protect the project longer. And it's more expensive to put a 3-year bond than a 1-year bond by all means, but it's more protection for the town and less risk, because when that bond, every year, when that bond comes due, so 9 months from approval, he's gonna be back in front of the board, trying to figure out, can he get bonded or can't he get bonded? He has to go to the insurance company, financial
But
statements,
9
everything
months
else.
later, would it be back in front of the board, or would it be back in the selectmen's
Well, we don't
hand
know.
to maintain that bond?
Probably the select, wherever it is, it's back into the town.
That's why I'm back to my, let's pass it with them, that's the big bailiwick to me. It's the management of it.
Right.
There really needs to be a joint discussion between the two of us at the very least. I don't think we can put details in it from our end until we decide who's
Okay.
got it.
Well, I think, wasn't it originally the lawyers who didn't like what we were doing? When it was Carthage, remember?
Yes.
And we did that, and they said that it was bad because the town had to put up the money before they could collect it. And, I mean, to me, what if someone sells a subdivision?
Or it goes into foreclosure.
Yeah.
I was thinking, one of the things that could protect the town, and could protect people that buy the subdivision, is make it a requirement that on the subdivision plan, the final subdivision plan that everybody looks at when they buy a lot, or should be looking at, some language such as a notation of the plan saying that there's no permits and no lots to be sold until a bond has been posted. And I thought that would probably be some reasonable language to
Yeah.
put on a plan so that someone buying a lot knows and can see that on the plan.
Have you seen
Because sometimes what happens, the developer may just sell a lot. The
Yeah.
unknowing person buys a lot,
Yeah.
not realizing that he can't do anything with it.
No, the developer wouldn't do that.
No, they would never do that.
No.
I have to check it.
And most of them would not, but there are some out there that would.
Yes, they are.
Mr. Chairman, I think some of the stuff that's been brought up, I really like Andy's idea that it should be a 3-year to start with. That makes a lot of sense. And I think his wording is great, too. We've got a motion in a
We got a
second.
couple of, in a second, we can vote them down and then
And
discuss this whole thing over again, and decide what we want to go at that point.
I agree.
You calling a vote?
I am calling for a vote.
Thank you.
Now I'm recommending we call for a vote.
All right, so we're going to first vote on the amendment to the motion, which is, Tina?
Concerns about the cisterns to be dealt with separately.
Okay. It's in regards to cisterns being dealt separately. All those in favor of that motion passing, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstentions?
I thought we were voting it down, sorry.
Then it's this one coming up.
Thank
But
you.
if,
That just
vote
brings the
down-
cistern into the program.
Right.
but if you vote down the original motion, does that also defeat the amendment?
Yes, it does.
So, okay. So
Now,
then-
the original amendment, was original motion was to pass,
so it didn't matter.
pass
what
as
you vote on
presented,
that.
but now it's going to be passed as presented with the amended motion. So all in favor of the original motion with the amendment on it, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Fails. So we bring the performance bond back to discussion on the table.
Andy, do you have what was that wording you had written down?
Wording that and I just jotted this real quick. A notation of the plan that no permits and no lots can be, no permits can be issued and no lots can be sold until a performance bond is in place. If there's nothing else, the closing attorneys will pick up on it and advise a person buying a lot that you realize if there's not a bond, they'll check on it to make sure that.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate here because under state law for subdivision requirements, you don't need to go through subdivision until you actually sold a lot. So if they do an out sale, they're allowed one out sale before they start their subdivision plan. How are we going to handle that issue?
The one lot every 5 years? But if it's an
Yeah, but
approved,
if I had a subdivision, I could actually, before I started my subdivision, I could
sell one lot.
If I owned the lot for 5 years and I had my let's just say I lived where you are and had
Yep.
a million acres, I could actually sell 2 lots and still not be in subdivision and create my subdivision.
Right, yeah, and I follow you with you, and I'm not sure how we'd handle that.
I know, and
It wouldn't work for that.
That's
a
the
good
only
point.
flag that stood up in my head is when
Other
you said
than-
that, is how do we handle
Other than an
it?
exempt lot, other than an exempt lot?
Other than exempt lots, that might work, because that was my first question when you come in for a permit in the office
Yep.
that I would have been sitting, I
Yeah.
guess. So we could add that other than
Other than
exempt,
lots exempt under state law.
under state law.
Yeah.
I think that sounds good.
On this also, on number 2 and 3 on the first page on the bottom, I find that's kind of contradictory.
Number what?
Number 2 and 3, it says that the applicant makes a list of improvements and the road commissioner makes a list. What list are we going with?
What do you mean?
It says on number 2,
Well,
it says,
for bond reductions, I see what you're saying.
yeah, it sounds, it's like, to me, it's confusing as to who's making the final call as to what number they're gonna use. The applicant's putting his numbers together, but I think we have to clarify that the town planner or the road commissioner, we're going with their numbers. The contractor can put up numbers together, but the number 3 people have to make the decision on what the bond's gonna be.
So you could say, shall provide an opinion of the remaining list and estimated cost to determine the remaining bond. determine the remaining bond amount.
On G, we had talked about if the guy puts cash money certified check,
I-
account, it's interest
Yeah, I don't
bearing.
like,
Interest bearing.
I don't like I at all, because I could have a project ready for a bond reduction in 3 months. I could come in with a request for, because it says a performance bond may be reduced one time each year upon
Yeah.
review and approval. I mean, I could have my infrastructure in 3 months.
Yeah, and come in for a bond. But
come
we
in
don't
for a
have-
bond
I think
reduction.
what's gonna happen in Waterboro is that it's gonna be phased out, because we can only give 3 permits a year, 2 or 3 permits a year. So I think everybody, and it doesn't, this doesn't address it either, that a person can actually do it in phases. We had talked about that at the meeting too, and we didn't address it in here. Because a person can have 20 lot subdivision, isn't gonna wanna bond the whole subdivision, because that's just 10 years out.
But you could bond your phase and phase your projects out.
Yeah.
And like I said,
It'd
you
be
could
done
have
in
your
3 or
road
4
in.
months, yeah.
Exactly.
But
Because that would be your first project, is your infrastructure anyway.
it's always easy to reduce a bond, it's just hard to put one on.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't here for the last meeting.
Tim, what's your point though on that? So if they go, if a contractor gets approval and goes crazy, in 3 months, they lay in road bed and stuff like that, they make substantial improvements, and they come to back to the department to get a reduction, what's wrong with that?
It's not, but that says 1 year.
Can't be for a year.
Under J, it says
May
a performance
reduce one-
bond may reduce one time each year upon review.
So if he got it reduced in 3 months, he couldn't get the next reduction till a year from now.
That was one of the things, that was one of the notes I sent in, saying,
Yeah, I think that was, because that's why I didn't,
yeah, all right.
yeah, I mean,
I don't see why it can't be done
Quarterly.
I would put it as project demands.
Yeah, I just don't want to get the guy that comes in and cuts a tree down and then has to get it,
Yeah, but then you have an oversight review. I mean, you have planning board, road commissioner, and I would hope the planner would hire a consultant, an road engineer that can tell you that
an independent third
you've
party.
established that at this point.
All the ones that I've ever been involved in, it's always been, the town has an engineer, and the
Third
town's
party.
engineer goes out, and the developer pays his fees to review the project and report to the town.
Exactly.
Which is what stops him from doing it every week.
Exactly,
He's gotta
exactly,
pay.
yeah, yeah, because you're gonna pay him every time he goes out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind taking the words one time each year out. It may be reduced,
On review and approval by the planning board, sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because I pretty much says provided substantial improvements have been completed.
And the other part of that is I don't want to see the town planner and the road commissioner coming up with these numbers. I think it needs to be fairly firm that we have an engineer firm or third-party firm doing this. This is a specialty. I mean, not to take away from Tom or his ability, but that's more than his
How about if he's just,
expertise. I don't care what he says unless he's a road engineer.
I even think to have the road commissioner involved with it, because that puts, if the road commissioner reviews it, for some reason it goes down later on, the town has no recourse against the road commissioner. Whereas if an engineer does it, the town can go back against the engineer.
What I found most of the time, the engineer does it, but a lot of times he shows up with the road commissioner.
Yeah, they do it in
And they
conjunction.
go and they do it together, they do a site walk, and if they have concerns, they're gonna tell the engineer, and the engineer's gonna address it.
But that's his call, the engineer's call.
The engineer's call, yeah. If he wants, or the road commissioner can say, hey, when you go out, I want to be involved. And I think that, so I think like Tim says, the engineer makes the call, and that way there you have all your legal bases covered, and we know that someone is qualified to make those decisions, protect the town, and still the road commissioner and town planner, or whoever wants to be involved, selectmen can just go out with them if they want to.
Because rest assured, the developer's gonna have his engineer there, so you need stamps, talking stamps, people that are certified or licensed to talk to licensed people, because then it becomes.
So we just take out the slant bar and or.
That's what, yes.
So just
That would've been
and,
easier for me just to say that, right? Yeah, I think we need to, it needs to be very clear that we don't want and or, we want and would be my opinion.
Yeah, because in the first section on the next page, B says, "and peer review engineer."
Do
Yeah.
our fees, are they sufficient to cover time spent by the planner and the road commissioner doing all this?
The communities, and
Guess
I hate
there's
to have
nothing
been
you
involved
can
with
do,
this.
but
They
I
came
don't
up
wanna
with a,
spend my tax dollar for something.
well, they don't, they came up with a fee schedule, with the planner was involved, if the planner was involved, or if our city engineer was involved, or the road commissioner, there was an actual fee schedule, or even actually codes, if we got involved with something. We had a fee schedule that was built into the.
We don't though.
We don't, but that's
We
the
try
way the
that.
larger communities handle it, because, as you said, why should I, living in Beaver Ridge, pay, and I'm using you and me only because I know what you do, pay for Andy to build a road and hire an engineer out of my dime to check his road out?
Which is gonna be
But
a
we're not-
town road,
that's
and
not
we're
the-
gonna
that's not
have
what I
to
was
pay to
proposing to
maintain
do.
it.
No, I'm not saying you are, and I'm just saying, that's Judy's question, why should the citizens pay for help pay for a developer? There should be a cost associated with whatever municipal employees' times that are involved in this project should be reimbursed at X rate, whatever that may be.
When I did it, the last time I did it in Lyman,
Mhm.
the way it worked is that the engineer would send in his report with a bill,
Exactly.
you know, and I gotta pay that bill.
Yeah.
And he ain't going out again unless I paid that last bill.
That's right.
And I don't get approvals, I don't get nothing unless I pay the bill. And so I think it ended up costing like $3,500 when we're all done. But he would go out, make his report, give it to the town, it was very professionally done, give it to the town, code enforcement officer got a copy, selectman got a copy, everybody knew where the project was at all the
But that
time.
wasn't for town employees, that was
But
an
that's,
outside
I mean, we
contractor.
do that, but maybe we should.
That was for the town, the
take
town's
town
engineer.
planner and the road
Yeah.
Is he
commissioner
an
right out.
employee or is he a contractor?
He's a subcontractor for the town.
But if you do activity-based costing, it's pretty easy to come up with a
Right.
salary, per cost, hourly basis.
Mhm.
I mean, it should be pretty easy with whatever accounting system they're using.
Yeah, and I didn't find his bills to be outrageous. He was giving me bills for like $350,
Yeah.
$400. Because he's just going out and doing a sidewalk and writing a report and sending it
And
in.
that's all part of the planning of the business.
The
That's-
contract engineers
Yeah,
rates.
right,
which
but
once
that isn't
again,
the town,
nothing to
that
do
isn't
with
the town
us.
rates, exactly.
Right.
No. And at the end, he wrote a letter saying that he felt that the project was 100% complete, and they had fulfilled everything. And at that point, the selectmen called a meeting where everyone that was interested could go out and look at it, and then they made a motion to release any remaining money.
Do they always use the same engineer?
They use the same engineer because Lyman has the same engineer for years and years. He's got an ongoing relationship with the town.
Because we obviously don't do that, we,
Well, I think the town of Waterboro uses, don't we have an engineer, what's the guy that Fulvio uses? Sebago.
Sebago?
Big at that.
No,
Well,
no.
not all, on all their projects.
So the town would pick an engineer, whoever engineer they want, or between the applicant and the town, say, okay, who do we have for options here? You know, and just pick an engineer, and that's the assigned engineer that's gonna take care of that.
But what I'm talking about is all of this says planner and road commissioner and engineer.
Right.
So.
So you're trying to figure out how to recoup our money.
Yes, because of all of these people, I know the engineer, that's easy, he sends his bill, but,
Aren't they both being paid anyway?
yeah, but why
With the
should
tax.
we pay for that?
But they don't have to go out either, because really they're
My
going by the
point
engineer.
is, why should you and I
You're paying
pay
them to go out.
them to go out to someone's, maybe they don't have to go,
But
I
I think
don't
in this,
know.
I think in this agreement, what we're saying is that the engineer is really making all the calls, and if a road commissioner has an issue with what's happening, because a lot of times, the engineer just went by himself. Every once in a while, the road commissioner wanted to tag along if he wanted to see, and he had questions, right? But he didn't go out on a regular basis. I think to start giving a person the responsibility of paying all these people, you can have a whole gang of people going out there.
I think the problem is if you go if you look at what this road commissioner gets paid, and you break it into 2,088 hours a year, I mean, the guy's $4.79 an hour. So,
I do think there's merit, though, for a local road commissioner to go on these projects because of flooding or whatever. I mean, unusual terrain, the engineer may know, may not know, but, you know, I mean,
plus, over the long term, it's going to be ours anyway.
yeah, you know, I mean, mean, I think it's well worth the town paying the road commissioner, whoever it is, to go and do whatever, you know?
Usually, they're not on the site for more than 10, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, they basically drive up, they walk the road, they look at what you're asking on your draw, and they can make those calls pretty quick, either it's done or it's not done, you know? The only time it gets technical is when they get down towards the end and they're shooting elevations on the road, so the engineer may want to go out and spot check some elevations or check every station point.
How about like compaction and stuff like that? Is that a pretty big?
Sometimes they do. I've had some towns where they've done some compaction tests, and I got other towns that haven't done compaction tests. They just ask you how you pack.
And it all depends on the engineering firm you use, if they know.
Use the Duramax to go up and down, that's all set.
And I'm not trying to bog this down by any means.
No,
just
you're
want-
finding it. I'm glad we started it this way, because I had, like I said, I had some of the issues that kind of caught my eye.
I mean, I think Judy's point is really valid, I mean, but it's sort of independent of this. I think the town needs to come up with a labor rate. And then we probably need an ordinance change later on saying, you know, if a town employee is called out for an applicant's project, they will be billed at, you know, and the rate's right there, and it's portal to portal. I mean, they get, it's even though they're on site for 10 minutes, they get the time away from their job doing in town hall.
Right.
Which is something the selectmen need to come up with rates for.
Right.
But I have an issue with somebody calling the town planner and saying, come on out and look at my engineering project on my road. He is not an engineer, that is not his job.
I think all he is really...
And I think his only involvement in these roads should be look at the documentation and kind of manage the people who are going to go there and the times. He should be the man. He shouldn't be out looking at these projects and saying, oh yeah, you have this road built and the grade is correct, because that's not his job.
No.
I mean, if we're going to come up with a project where you're going to have that, then you need an engineer, a road engineer that can do these designs and actually go out there and talk the talk.
Same language, yeah.
I think the role of the selectman really is just to clarify when it goes to the the role of planner is to clarify it when it goes to the selectman.
Exactly.
He's a walking recorder.
That's right. So I can't visualize, and I haven't in the years I've done this, visualize my town planner, whether it was here with Dwayne Warren or Standish or Biddeford, where the town planner went out to look at
Not usually.
any road projects. I mean, once he was done with it, he was just pretty much the coordinator of the project and the monies. So I kind of find it interesting that this town planner is trying to wiggle his way into doing engineering and looking at roads, if that indeed is his
I mean,
case.
even if you strike it out of the language in the ordinance, if he wanted to, he could still go.
Well, yeah, we're not preventing him from going.
Yeah.
But it's not a requirement. If it's in here, then it's a requirement. Because
Right.
it says and.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you strike it, anybody can go. But the people who really want to go are the road commissioner and the peer review engineers.
Yeah, because some of these road projects, I mean, I was involved with one where we were on site for hours and hours.
Yeah, sometimes, if it's not going well, yeah, you could,
Yeah,
I imagine that could be the
You
case.
could be there for like a
You know,
half
if
a
somebody's got
day,
culverts in the draining the wrong way or something, you know?
just scratching your head, looking around.
There was
and
a project done in Saco on Jenkins Road where the guy that laid the sewer line laid it backwards. And instead of the sewer draining down, it was draining up.
Picky.
What's that?
Picky.
Picky. It's a God's truth. And I mean, this was a major thing. There was houses built out there and the sewer line was put in wrong.
No planner didn't get that.
Not a planner didn't catch that.
I guarantee the planner didn't get out of his office to go look at it in Saco.
I mean, if you take an I3 and eliminate the town planner with the assistance of, eliminate that, and then in first section on the second page, I'm not sure why that's not numbered. B, the planning board shall request certification from the road commissioner and peer review engineer. And just eliminate,
Town planner, road
Town
commissioner,
planner.
just get it from engineers.
yeah, because the certification's coming from the engineer, right?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
that road commissioner should be
The
eliminated.
road commissioner can still go, town planner can still go, but the engineers, he has the last say. Either he recommends it being completed or not.
So on the first page, number 3, eliminate the town planner with the assistance of the road commissioner and just go town consultant engineer shall provide.
Yeah.
Do you want the road commissioner out of that one, or?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So-
Yeah, because the burden should be on the engineer. I mean, that's the guy that,
Okay.
I think that's the guy that, I think if the road commissioner goes and the road commissioner goes, that's a $15 repair. I don't know.
Any road commissioner's gonna have a problem with it, is gonna let the town consulting engineer know about it.
Exactly.
I mean, it'll take them minutes to go down there and say, hey, I went down there and I saw this, and check into that for the town.
And if he wants to go, he can go.
He can go, yeah.
At any
Exactly.
time, it's part of his duties as a road commissioner.
But he doesn't have to show up at every
But
inspection.
He doesn't have to show up and sit around for 2 hours while they talk.
Okay.
And on page 2, under release of obligation required by performance bond, letter B, excuse me, you are looking to,
Say request certification from the
Peer review engineer,
okay, peer review.
take down planner road commission right out.
Okay.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Right, if he wants to get them involved, he can.
Then Frank, you were saying the last one, a logging system with project owners' names and
That's not us.
shall be maintained.
That's them.
So we should,
That's a town hall function of some sort. That doesn't fall back on us.
well, the SOP can direct it, but it should be, a logging system shall be maintained, basically.
Not our call.
Well, how about if we put under the guidance of the town selectmen, record management system, or,
Not our call. If they want to do it, if we want to pass to them, they want to do it, and they want to let them go, not our call.
okay.
Well, I'd like to leave it in there, actually.
Well, I don't mind leaving it in there, but I think it ought to be left in there with a big flag
Yeah.
for you guys to say,
Yeah,
where's the ball
a
stop?
heads up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I said at the beginning. I don't mind leaving it in there, but I want needs a big circle around it.
yeah.
Sure.
So you wanted to still say town planner rather than the board of selectmen shall appoint an employee to maintain record management system?
No.
Do you want the town planner in there, or you want it to say board of selectmen shall appoint?
How about how about if we don't put anything, and just
How
say a
about-
record management system related to subdivision, site plan review, shall be maintained, a record management.
The town, and just eliminate the word planner, the
Yeah.
town shall maintain a record management system.
Okay.
Rather than direct who's gonna do it.
Yeah. That's an SOP. That's why, it gets down to that the end of that second sentence, which says maintained in the planning department. It very well may go back to the planning department, but I think it should just end at shall be maintained.
That isn't our call where it gets maintained. That's their call.
Right.
It gets maintained.
That's why I say, so
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
maintained, period.
Sure.
And then,
Yep.
it might be done in the treasury department.
The kicker was the last meeting we had, was listening to the town planner, this all came back into the town planning department. We took everything.
Job security.
And all the selectmen did was on the last final thing, they got to say, okay, we'll release it. Everything else from the planning department. And that's where the talk was, we're gonna do this with staff and that with staff, and I'm going, no, I can't, that's a need to be defined very clearly where this responsibility lies. That changes the planning board and the planning department completely if you suddenly have us gonna do record management, bond negotiations, blah, 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 up and down the line.
Oversight committee.
That's a different ballpark.
Plus, the other thing too is, what happens in the future if we decide to do away with the planning department and call it,
Or we don't have a town planner.
we don't have a town planner? If it's in the ordinance, that means the ordinance has got to get re-voted on.
Exactly.
So, if it's just,
I think, I don't mind leaving that in there, but it needs to have a big red circle around it saying, guys,
I'll make a motion that we forward this performance bond as discussed and reviewed.
I do have one question before we go too far. Andy said he wanted it to say,
Oh yeah, where do we say that?
no permits or lot shall be sold until the performance bond is posted. Where did that go in here? On this number?
I think that needs to go
No.
under requirements and conditions.
I think that it wasn't so much to be written up in this here, I think it was just a suggestion to the planning board on their checklist, on their checklist, on their final plan checklist, on their final checklist, the final plan, have a checklist to make sure that's on the plan. I don't think you can put it in the ordinance, but you can put it
Sure.
as a condition of approval.
That's maybe why I could figure out where you want
Yeah.
it in here. All right.
I wasn't clear on it, I'm sorry.
So the additional changes are to take out in letter I, one time each year. In 3, to remove everything till the town consulting engineer shall provide an opinion of the remaining list and estimated cost to determine the remaining bond amount. In second page, planning board shall request certification from the peer review engineer. And then in the final section, the
Hey,
town.
are you gonna retype this over? You're
I'm
gonna,
gonna make it so that the.
put that last section in red ink. That'll make me happy. Flag it, put it in red ink and flag it. That
Well,
last,
what I'm gonna
the
do
record
is-
management section.
It will show where the corrections are, just like that, would be what we took out and what we put
We've
in.
eliminated planner and
You want bold?
planning department of that.
Bold print too?
But you're gonna say the town shall maintain a records management system, and then surety bonds and amounts of bonds shall be maintained
Period.
by the town?
Just
Or
period.
Just
Okay.
period.
The only thing else I had, Tina, was up in F.
You're still telling me.
Right,
Time period for the performance bond should be a period of 3 years, beginning on the date.
okay.
Oh, say that one again?
The time period for the performance bond or security shall be for a period of 3 years, beginning on the date of a final approval.
I think that's probably better because it's,
It is.
It's more realistic.
You go,
Yeah.
you're gonna be,
Yeah.
look at some of the subdivisions
Because the
we've
biggest-
done, and
Well,
in 2 years they haven't done anything.
But even
It's a big subdivision, what trips is? What happened when the guy comes in with 3 lots?
then he goes in,
Is he gonna do 3 years?
yeah, he's still required 3 years, but he comes back to us for reduction in
3
the
months.
first quarter.
Because you can always reduce them, if the problem becomes,
and we,
you can't force them to
Lengthening
renew
it.
it.
Yeah, renewing it is probably
Renewing is a
much
real
more
problem.
difficult than reducing it.
we also put the value of the bonds. So someone with 3-lot subdivision would certainly have a much
Smaller
smaller.
bonds.
Yeah, but it's gonna cost more for that 3-year bond than it is for the 1 year, too.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it protects us, that way if the guy goes bankrupt, you know, like you said.
Speaking of going bankrupt, I wanted you all to see
Yeah, I saw
the
that.
public notice.
Speaking of bankrupt.
Oh, really? That explains why it got moved up, did you?
All right, so we've heard,
Yeah, why is it on the agenda?
we've heard the changes. I will accept a motion that Kurt started. You gonna finish that?
I make a motion, we accept the performance bond for the wording and the performance bonding recommendation as discussed after the vote to be forwarded to the selectmen.
I would second that.
Okay.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, something like that. I think I said selectmen
There's
twice.
been a motion to accept the performance bond as we've adjusted it just recently and read back to us by Tina to forward it to the Board of Selectmen. Are there any further discussions on this?
Are we gonna get to see it, make sure all the changes are in there?
I'll do it tomorrow and email it to everybody.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
And once we get acknowledgement from everybody, you can
Yeah, you
forward it
can just email me back, say, yeah, it's okay.
over. My email's not working.
Well, you can come back.
I'll come down.
All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? All right, this moves on.
What about the cistern thing?
Yeah,
What about the cistern thing?
get the underground service.
Is that still in there?
House.
That's what we had in there, just the wording.
Second time it happened.
Yeah, but the note
We have lightning rods in the
that
house,
it be,
that when the house gets hit.
Next on the agenda is
you had
But
the,
the
communications. Jensen and Beer having their annual municipal client seminar.
This last time, we don't have the surge protector because we lost it to fire.
Hey, guys. We just get through this and we'll be done. Jensen and Beer are having their annual municipal client seminar scheduled Thursday, September 29th. It's usually, it's a pretty good one, I've been to a few of them.
Good feed.
good feed. It's at 6 to 8:30 at the Wyndham Portland Hotel. Do we need to let them know if we're going to be?
What they sent was just an advance
What
notice.
is
Okay.
that? I don't have no glasses.
Okay, so if you have interest in attending, please save the date.
I don't have my glasses.
There's also, the Selectmen's agenda has a planning board report for August 9th scheduled. I am scheduled to work on August 9th, so I will not be there on a Tuesday night for the planning board. If one of you board members would like to go and represent us, I would appreciate it. Frank?
I'll do it.
Okay,
All the nine.
Thank you.
thank you. Is there any new business? Yes, there is. Under new business, we need to election of officers. I don't think-
Nominate-
We haven't done that one in a couple of years.
I nominate Tim to be chairman of this planning board.
Second.
I haven't been reappointed yet by the selectmen. I actually never got a notice that my appointment was up. And I had to go online and dig one up to make sure they got it, so.
Did you get my email?
Yeah, you sent me the email and I copied it, but, so if I'm not reappointed, that may be an issue.
We may have to do the whole.
Is that why we're doing the election now?
Yeah, you would have to do the election over again.
So otherwise it'll be fun.
Okay.
So contingent on your reappointment.
I like that, and make sure that's added in there. yeah.
All right, I'll do it. Contingent on my reappointment. Since I've been appointed, I'm going to hand it over to Kurt as the vice chair, since I've been the one nominated.
All right. Having a nomination, and a second, a call for a vote for Tim to be the chairman of the planning board.
I abstain.
Anybody opposed?
You can't abstain.
Who's
Not
opposed?
voting.
Do you want to go on record for why?
I feel we need a chairman who can be here more often. I think that if the chairman's job is to lead the meeting, the chairman should be here.
Okay.
That's all, nothing personal at all.
No, I don't take it as personal. I have a work schedule that's
Yeah, I
very...
know, but that's how I feel.
Okay. So we had, motion passes, I guess not motion, but nomination passes.
So you nominate a vice chair.
Vice chair,
I
correct.
nominate Kurt.
I have a nomination for Kurt as vice chair. I'll take it back, Kurt. Kurt as vice chair. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? And we need a recording secretary.
What?
A secretary?
The one who signs.
The one who signs the documents.
I think it's gotta be somebody that's in town.
I'll nominate Frank Allen.
We could deliver it to Merrill's on.
That's right.
I think you're on the
8:30 tomorrow.
That's still from the left.
Frank Allen's been nominated as secretary. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? Nominations cease. All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Congratulations.
I want the chairman of the sister committee.
I think we should have a water district send their lines throughout the town. Then we would have cisterns and no issues.
What is different issue?
Any further discussion, anything else anybody like to bring up? I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Is there any other issues that you guys have been working on for a while that haven't been completed?
This has been the big one.
Okay.
This has been the big one. Or the recent big one, I guess.
And we still have, the ordinances are still old.
Yes, they are.
They need to be, we need to actually just go through the ordinance and just start updating them and taking out language that's wrong, or, confusing and stuff like that. I think that's something we gotta look at as like, maybe once a quarter we tackle a section of it or something like that, and just,
Well, we started that actually, what, a year and a half?
yeah, and we,
Then it got,
I actually think that we should have, because we don't have a whole lot of business, but continue to have 2 meetings a month. 1 meeting a month would be
Workshop.
business, and the other meeting would be an ordinance workshop.
Makes a lot of sense, just because at least that way it keeps moving.
Frank, have you ever heard anything from Tom on that overlay? Okay.
And it might only understood for the short term. So we sit down and we take a section of the ordinances, and we go through and we find obvious changes and make them. My gathering is that we have to wait till we get through the whole damn thing before we can change it.
I think probably the best thing to do is to get with the selectmen and see if they want to change a section at a time, if they want to change it, or, I mean, are you talking huge changes, or are you just talking about language?
Most of them were not. Most of the ones I remember, if we went through, were not. We were taking out whole sections.
Right, and we're like
and the last
updating
one we
it so that it
finished-
didn't say SAD 57
Yeah,
anymore.
but when we finish a section or chapter, buzz it 3 times, pass it to them, have our meetings, whatever you have to do, be done with it, and then go to the next section. I think if we try to get through the whole thing,
We'll never get
We'll
it
never get
done.
done.
But it- probably need to check with them to make sure that that's acceptable before we decide to do a section a month or whatever, and then.
I think we could probably pass a letter to the selectmen telling them what we're going to do and how we're going to approach it, and if they like it, if they don't like it, they can go back to us. It's a little different from what you just said.
Yeah, it is.
But I think that's, I don't think we have to have permission how we're going to do it, we can tell them how we're going to do it, and.
Yeah, but they're the ones, I mean,
They're gonna vote on it.
it's like, if you decide to do it your way, and then that's not acceptable, then you're back to doing it their way anyway, so I think it's easier to ask permission than forgiveness in this instance.
We can send a letter to the selectmen, let them know that our plans are to review the ordinance and pick it at a section at a time and find out, and let them know that we're going to propose it. Sort of in a soft, fashion.
Another thing I think you asked us to look at was that zone, the area over, yeah, by the Redemption Center, look at all the
Oh, yeah,
lots
that's
in there.
definitely something that needs to be
And
done.
we sort of looked at it once and then poof out.
We had the combined workshop with the selectmen on that.
But it didn't go anywhere, I mean,
Yeah, because we got into discussion going up the dump road, and that's as far as it.
but it just kind of
Did you just have
disappeared.
one on your agenda, something that's going to be passed to the planning board, some zoning change or something?
Well, up on the
That's a
mountain.
road change. Do all those people really?
No, this is something different.
It's a
That's-
zone change.
Oh,
It's a different one, the lady's asking, her lots between the AR and the forest and agriculture zone, she wants to be the AR side. That's what she does.
2 acre land versus 10?
Yeah,
2
that's,
acre lots versus 10?
Yeah.
So would I.
me too.
Yes.
Actually, there's no way that you,
But that-
Gail wants to pass.
East Waterboro needs to be taken care of.
So we keep up to the workshops,
Yeah.
workshop a month.
Is it Mark?
All right.
It's the whole-
All those in favor of adjourning?
So,
Pass. Thank you.